I found a letter, hidden in my house that was never meant for me. A few months after buying my first house, I decided to renovate the attic. The place was old, dusty, and filled with things the previous owners had left behind. Most of it was junk, but while removing a loose floorboard, I discovered something unexpected. Hidden underneath was a sealed envelope covered in dust. On the front were the words, "To my daughter, if you ever find this." At first, I assumed it was part of someone's family history and none of my business, but curiosity got the better of me. The letter looked like it had been hidden for decades. After staring at it for several minutes, I carefully opened it. Inside was a handwritten letter from a woman named Margaret. She explained that she was very sick and didn't expect to live much longer. The letter was addressed to her daughter, whom she had been forced to give up for adoption when she was a teenager. She wrote about how she had spent years searching for her child, but never found her. Near the end of the letter, she apologized for not being there and explained that she had hidden the letter in the house because it was the only place she believed her daughter might someday visit. I couldn't stop thinking about it. For weeks, I carried the letter around with me. Something about it felt unfinished. I knew I could have ignored it and moved on with my life. But the sadness in those words stayed with me. Eventually, I decided to do some research. The letter included Margaret's full name and a few details about her life. After hours of searching public records and social media, I discovered that Margaret had died nearly 20 years earlier. But I also found evidence that her daughter might still be alive. The problem was that I had no way of knowing if I had found the right person. Still, I tried. I sent a message explaining who I was and why I was contacting her. I honestly expected no reply. 3 days later, I received one. The woman said she had always known she was adopted but knew almost nothing about her biological mother. She agreed to meet me. When we sat down at a small coffee shop, I handed her the letter. She stared at the envelope for a long time before opening it. As she read, tears began rolling down her face. The entire room seemed to disappear around us. For nearly 15 minutes, she said nothing. Then she looked at me and quietly asked, "Did she really write this for me?" I nodded. She started crying even harder. She explained that she had spent her whole life wondering if her biological mother had ever cared about her. She had imagined hundreds of different possibilities, but none of them included a mother who spent years trying to find her. The letter answered questions she had carried for decades. Before we left, she thanked me for not throwing it away. A few months later, she contacted me again. She had used information from the letter to connect with distant relatives she never knew existed. For the first time in her life, she felt like she understood where she came from. Sometimes I think about how close that letter came to being lost forever. One decision, one careless moment, and it could have ended up in the trash. Instead, it found its way to the person it was always meant for. I bought that house hoping it would give me a fresh start. I never expected it would help someone else find a piece of their past,